Good morning from hell. It's me, Clayton, brother of Satan, host of the show, keeper of Chris.
Yes.
Chris, introduce yourself.
I'm Chris.
Do what I was doing. Do that tone.
I am Chris, and I am dead, and my eternal punishment is to do this podcast where we interview everyone in hell.
Is that what I sound like? You're adding a little bit of rasp to your voice, and it sounds like you're impersonating me.
No, if I was gonna do that, it would be more like this.
Whoa, someone's coming for my job. Oh, wow. Hey, talk like that. You're kind of more attractive when you talk like that.
Oh, talk like that.
You know what? You could be like a backup for that Universal Studios Beetlejuice live production if you really wanted to be. The understudy, I think you could nail that job.
Good to know. I always have that in my back pocket.
Yeah, you got fallback. You got plans. You got redundancies to.
If this gig in hell ever falls through.
No, there's no way this will fall through. We're making so much money. We posted recently on our social channels, if you want to go check those out, at Morning from Hell. Made a bit of a profit, didn't we, Chris?
Oh yeah, there's a meta whatever bonus program. We made a whole 1 cent.
That's right.
A whole 1 cent.
From Meta, the worst company ever.
And then we posted the image of us making 1 cent, and we made 46 cents from that one.
Well.
So we've created an infinite money machine.
So then theoretically, like next time, we will make, what's 46? Hold on. 46 times.
I don't know if it multiplies by 46 every time or just adds by 45.
Well, no, next time we'd be making $21.16. And then if we multiply that times 46, 973.36.
There's no way this doesn't work.
Multiply that times 46, 44,774. And we multiply that times 46, 2 million.
Wow.
That was like 1, 2, 3. Like 4 small posts will be millionaires, Chris.
Wow, we've broken the system.
We fucking got them. No wonder there's so many billionaires out there wandering the streets. Okay, let's get into this week's episode, shall we?
Yeah, who is our guest? Who are we interviewing?
Well, as you know, I am on a top secret mission from heaven. So I'm out here. We're interviewing people in hell for our show, but obviously we're also trying to find people who may have been misplaced, people that belong up in heaven that just may have accidentally ended up here, a little glitch in the system. So I thought of an easy one. John F. Kennedy, big president guy.
Oh, he's in hell?
He's in hell, yeah. I don't know. I mean, if getting your brains blown off is a sin, I guess he's guilty, but I don't know what the big deal is with JFK.
Well, yeah, I guess we should find out.
Yeah, how do we summon JFK, though? Like maybe a Marilyn impression or something?
Happy birthday to you.
Oh, hello, JFK.
Hello, I heard someone singing my very favorite song.
Happy birthday to you?
Brings back very fond memories. And very fond memories.
Oh, JFK, you dog. Well, welcome to the show. This is Good Morning from Hell. I'm sure you've heard of it. We're Hell's #1 podcast.
Of course, I've heard of this podcast. It's a very popular podcast. I'm very plugged in with media these days. I'm going on all the shows, seeing all the important people and speaking into any microphone that will hove into my general field of view.
Oh, that's cool. So you're out promoting something.
Oh, absolutely. I subscribe to all the lists. I'm looking at all the charts. I'm in the middle of a book tour right now.
Oh.
That is my main focus. So, of course, I'm paying attention to all the media and all the possible outlets that I can appear on and, of course, talk about my book.
Well, tell us about your book.
Yeah.
Well, you see, you probably have heard, my life was tragically cut short in the okay state of Texas. I won't say great. I'll say okay state of Texas.
Yeah.
In probably, I'll say the 4th best city in that state.
Yes, Dallas, Texas, sure.
My life was tragically cut short there. So, of course, I didn't get to have what most presidents have, which is a thorough post-presidency career of promoting books and hawking merchandise.
Oh.
Yeah. You did miss out on that. That's some big money in that.
One of the favorite things of presidents to do is to have a term of inaction, getting nothing done, and then writing a book about all the things that they theoretically wanted to accomplish, and I never got to do that. I feel very bad.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. To have missed out on that opportunity to have done so little.
It really is a burr in my saddle.
Well, I mean, there's so many things that we could talk about. I mean, obviously, we want to talk about your book. Obviously, we want to talk about, like, the sad demise that you met there in Dallas. But before we do that, JFK, we actually like to roast listeners of the show. So would you care to participate in that with us?
Well, I would be honored. What a more appropriate place to roast someone than and the bowels of hell.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's thematic.
If you'd like to be roasted on the show, you can sign up on our Patreon at goodmorningfromhell.com. It's like our version of a shout out, except for we make fun of you.
That's right. It's only for the low price of $6.66, and you get access to a bunch of cool, exclusive content, and we got a bunch more coming on the way. Anyways, let's get to these roasts. So this first one is from Chris. Is this you, Chris?
No, I did not. This is not me.
I don't know. I think you might have jumped yourself up on the list. I mean, let's read what this guy has to say. He says, I've run over 30 marathons and ultra marathons, including an 8-day, 210-mile trek across half of Iowa. Okay, this is not you, Chris. All right. Different Chris. Married, finally, after 2 failed marriages, to a Canadian. An embarrassing story or confession is said that he owns over 10 lightsabers, 40 original Generation 1 Transformers, and way too many copies of Lord of the Rings Extended Edition. This might be you, Chris. Is this actually you?
I'm not into Transformers, but otherwise, it could be me, which is a roast in and of itself.
He says he also loves things Disney way too much. He's a Disney adult.
Wait, so how many wives does he have?
He said 2 failed engagements and 1 good one with the Canadian. So that's obviously a green card marriage.
Yeah, you wouldn't know my wife. She goes to a different country. She's in Canada. Yes.
He says, I am too old to be embarrassed about much, but that comes at the cost of being in bed by 9. Ooh, zinger. Old man's getting to bed early. Oh, crazy.
It's okay. His lightsabers can keep him warm at night.
What do you even do with 10 lightsabers? I don't even think General Grievous had that many.
Well, you certainly can't give them to your friends because I suspect that you don't have that many.
Well, Chris, he definitely fits the bill as a Chris.
Thank you, Chris, for your support and your allegiance to
Go on.
nerddom.
Nailed it. Nerddom, the struggling field of nerddom, barely staying alive.
Circling the drain.
We got room for one more. Do you guys want to do one more?
Let's do one more.
Okay, this is from Kara or Kara. Their job is they say dog groomer, but they also said shave dog ass.
What?
So it just says shave dog ass - dog groomer.
So is this a hobby or a job? Do they just like shaving dogs?
Well, it is listed under what do you do for a living, i.e. field of work / hobbies. So it is to be determined whether shaving dogs' asses is an interest or what she does for work.
Look, they say if you shave dogs' asses, you'll never work a day in your life.
So Kara is a dog ass shaving enthusiast.
Who may also do grooming.
Maybe.
Yeah, so Kara is a groomer, confirmed.
Let's go ahead and take that completely out of context. Print it.
Kara's embarrassing story / confession. Oh, this is fun. They said, I also had an encounter with Chris when he was alive at RTX. Rest in peace. So RTX was old Rooster Teeth.
Killed, obviously.
Yes, he was dead and gone. Might come back now that... Never mind, we're not going to get into that bullshit. Let me see. They said, I had an encounter with Chris. I was walking to something, and we passed each other on the sidewalk. I waved, then asked if I could get a picture with him real quick. He said, sure, and he mentioned he was on his way to something and was like, walk with me. And I just started walking with him wherever he was going. Eventually, he's like, we should probably take that picture. And about a month later, I realized he probably wanted me to, immediately take the picture as we were walking and not follow him everywhere, for several minutes down the road. I inadvertently became a creep. My bad. Chris, it's not very often that you're the cool one in these situations. That's incredible.
No, I'm sure we had a great conversation.
You're confirming that you don't remember Kara then. She had such little impact on your life that you don't even remember this happening.
I think I remember.
Nice save. So...
Did you end up taking the picture in the midst of that Aaron Sorkin-style walk and talk?
Yeah, I'm sure we did. I would love to see the photo of this, Kara. If you're listening, please send it in.
I'm sure they are. I'm sure that this doesn't keep them up at night and making them wake in a cold sweat, remembering what an ass they made of themselves at RTX.
Hey, as far as I know, RTX was the place for making an ass of yourself.
I just love that this person decided that this was bothering them so much they were willing to pay to confess about it so that they could lift that burden from their back.
Sometimes we have to pay to be unburdened, unyoked by these sins of our past.
Thank you, Kara. Thank you, Chris. Not you, Chris. Other Chris.
John, tell us about this book. What made you want to write it?
Also, how did you write a book? Because paper is very flammable, so, what methods did you use to write in hell?
Well, I had a brimstone tablet and used some volcanic ash and painstakingly dipped my finger on my tongue and wrote it out long form on a brimstone tablet. It took many, many years.
I guess since what, 69 you've had to work on it?
I've had a lot of time down here in the bowels of hell because, again, the president's book, the time-honored tradition of a president writing a book is the sweetest plum imaginable. And so I needed to get my side of the story out there. I've included a lot of wonderful anecdotes and, of course, excerpts from speeches, first drafts of speeches that people have never seen before.
Could you give us a little taste of this yummy peach or plum?
Wow, great job,
What did
Chris.
you call it? Some kind of fruit?
So eloquent with your words, Chris.
Of course, I'd be happy to read. Let me find my inauguration speech. This is a first draft, so again, this is more of a peek behind the curtain into the mind of a president as he is assuming the office.
Well, I do think a lot of people got a peek into your mind.
Chris,
but-
that's pretty good. That's pretty dirty, Chris.
Oh my God, I've been sniped twice. You absolutely hate to see it.
Sorry, John, for his interruption. Go ahead with your speech.
We observe today not a victory of party, but a celebration of freedom. The world is very different now. Now you can see a movie with two girls kissing if you know the right theater downtown.
Oh.
Yowza. And yet, the same revolutionary beliefs for which our forebears fought are still an issue around the globe. The belief that girls should kiss in more movies. And not just dark underground ones that I've heard about, but certainly never been to.
Okay.
Let the word go forth from this time and place to friend and foe alike that if it is a skinny brunette and, say, a redhead want to kiss by a pool on film, we will permit that. We shall pay any price, bear any burden, meet any hardships, support any friend to oppose any foe, to assure that girls of all creeds, colors, all religions, whether big hipped or narrow, dump truck or assless, big natural hangers or bee stings,
Okay.
are welcome to kiss on film and maybe even more.
Wow.
Thank you. Yes.
You know, the beginning you started out and I was like, okay, this is a really polished first draft. It sounds very close to what we got originally. And then it just took a hard left. And wow, I did not see that other part. Did you run on that platform?
It was buried very deep, of course, in a lot of my campaign promises and literature. And so not a lot of people got to hear that side of my campaigning.
Something you feel very strongly about.
I feel very passionate about.
It was mentioned no less than 5 times in that one speech.
That almost made it all the way to the podium.
Really?
That was very close to how it almost appeared.
What changed?
Yeah.
Why didn't we hear that?
Was it LBJ? Did he step in? He did do naysayer?
Oh, you talking about Mr. Jumbo? That big dick bastard. He loved that speech.
What changed your mind? Why did you alter it? I mean, this is so historic.
Well, I, of course, run my speeches by my advisors and those closest to me, and I remember reading this for Jackie.
Your wife?
My wife, Jackie, yes. I can't tell you how furrowed her brow was as I progressed through the speech. She was shooting daggers into me, which, something much worse would happen to me, of course, not too much later. So I decided, as her brow got more furrowed, make changes to the document, the one that people know and have heard today.
I see. What a historic, piece of literature that you have just granted on our podcast. It's incredible.
Of course, yes, of course. And the book is full of excerpts and speeches and anecdotes and things, the things that presidents talk about in their books and the things that they wanted to accomplish. I, in fact, wanted to put 2 girls on the moon to kiss.
Oh.
And not because it's easy, because I'm hard.
Okay. No wonder we were so motivated as a country if that was the original mission statement for the Apollo missions. That's crazy.
And it makes sense you really wanted it to be done by 69.
Chris, you're sharp as a tack. That is exactly right.
Amazing technology to have it filmed, broadcasted to Earth. It's all making sense right now.
It's all coming together.
So when you were talking about movies, you were talking about documentaries.
Of course, this was a revolutionary age. I was fortunate to be a very small part of it before I was unceremoniously blown to bits in Dallas, Texas.
Talk to us about that. There's so much controversy surrounding your death and, whether or not Lee Harvey Oswald did it or if it was some sort of, CIA mission. Like, what can you divulge, Mr. Kennedy?
I can tell you that it's no coincidence that Lee Harvey Oswald was a CIA asset. I'm sure most people know that by this point. The people that secretly move behind the curtain, people who are really in charge of this fine country, didn't want to see an incredibly horny Catholic man rise to the level of presidency and usher in a new era of prosperity for this nation.
Would you say it was more about you being Catholic, or would it be more about just being horny?
Horny.
I think it was my voice.
Oh.
They were tired of hearing this very kind of strange Boston Brahmin accent that is sort of implaceable.
Yeah.
It doesn't broadcast well.
You were in the first televised presidential debate, and that broadcast pretty well with Nixon.
Yeah, that's historic.
Of course, but fellas, by contrast, I was up against Richard M. Nixon. That bar was, so to speak, in hell. That guy I was sweaty as a Christmas ham.
They did report that you, Mr. Kennedy, did makeup and stuff, which at the time was not a normal thing for men to do, I suppose, or I guess, it was frowned upon, so I think Nixon passed on it. Can you kind of tell us about the Nixon debate, and the moments leading up to it?
Television being a new medium at the time for presidents and people of state, not movie stars, to be appearing on. So, of course, I decided to sit down in the makeup chair and get a giant powder puff splashed on my face. Nixon passed on that because, of course, he would have thought that was a sissy thing to do, and he paid the price.
He looked like shit.
Yeah.
Speaking of Nixon, he's been on the show before. Do you guys keep in touch? I mean, what was that relationship like?
I'll be honest with you, boys. All the presidents keep in touch. We all have correspondence. When you rise to that rank of the highest office in the land, you do tend to become part of a club of people who have sat in the Oval Office and sit at the Resolute desk in that chair. So we do send each other correspondence and letters, mostly me taunting him, mostly me making fun of him for being so unsightly and ghoulish at that debate. He never responds. I've thrown the gauntlet at him many times to come and redo another debate, but I'm afraid he just doesn't have the stones.
Do you guys ever possess the bodies of the Disney Hall of Presidents and just kind of shamble around like robots?
I would love to do that, but I'm afraid that the Disney Hall of Presidents, those animatronics are already inhabited by the souls of people who have died in the park.
Oh my God, wow.
No room at the inn.
Cuban Missile Crisis. Did we really get that close to nuclear war with Russia?
We absolutely did. We certainly edged nuclear war. We got right up to the brink. Oh, what a catastrophe. We really stepped in it. And I, as the leader of the free world, take responsibility for that. And we couldn't have gone worse because we made Castro into a hero. He was soundly reelected. That was our whole plan, was to remove him from power. It could not have blown up in our face, so to speak, any worse.
Well, it could have.
It could have.
Well,
think about it.
You're absolutely right. Let's say it was a close second to the worst possible outcome that could have seen, being slightly embarrassed at our foreign policy and the end of all life as we know it on this planet.
Yeah.
They're running a neck-and-neck race. Could be a photo finish. Who's to say?
So was that more embarrassing, the Cuban Missile Crisis, or the Bay of Pigs? I guess maybe now it would be called the Bay of America.
Yeah.
That's right. I've heard down here that we're in the midst of renaming bodies of water in impotent attempts to assert our dominance globally.
Mr. Kennedy, if you knew that you had that ability to rename great bodies of water, throw some names at us that you would have named, maybe an ocean or a sea or one of the Great Lakes. Would have you renamed any of those?
I would have called them the Great Legs.
Oh.
It's one of my favorite features on a beautiful, say, redhead or brunette.
Yes.
Or maybe even a blonde.
Oh,
Those are
okay.
the options.
So the Great Legs, there's the blonde, the brunette, the redhead.
That's right.
Ah, I see. Okay, so each of the lakes would have represented a different lady in your life, yes.
That's right.
The Great Lakes kind of connect, right? So it's kind of like they're kissing.
Chris, you beautiful genius, you. Hold on, I've got to write this down. I've got an idea for a new book. This one's going to be fan fiction, though, I believe.
John, do you have anything in your book about your alleged affair with Marilyn Monroe?
I have a little bit about that. That's what moves the units. That's what moves the books. People want to know, they like people to kiss and tell. And of course, legendary horn dog. I don't think that that's any secret. One of the famous things about Kennedys is that we are incredibly lecherous. Some say monstrous. Listen, you don't crank out 14 children apiece without something going on downstairs. So of course, yes, I did kiss Marilyn and quite a bit more.
Oh, wow.
But you can read about it in the book. I can't tell everything. I've got to sell these things. I got in advance.
Of course. Speaking of, your family's legacy and, your descendants and things like that, what are your thoughts on your nephew, Robert?
I don't know if you're aware, he just got appointed to the U.S. Secretary of Health and Human Services.
I have always said that my nephew, RFK Jr., has a great mind. The worms absolutely love it. They say it's delicious.
Uh-huh.
There's always something going through a Kennedy's mind. It could be a bullet, could be a worm. Could be the steering wheel of an airplane. There's always something going through through our heads. And that fine young man, I know he's going to bring around a new age of prosperity to these United States.
Yeah. He's definitely a lot of people's dad's favorite guy, because they're look at his body, but what's up with the voice? And this is me asking, what the fuck is wrong with that guy's voice, dude?
Well, I talk about that in my book. You'll understand. A lot of people talk about the Kennedy curse, that a lot of relatives in our family have befallen tragedy. Maybe one of the greatest tragedies is my nephew's voice. I sound like this, and he thought he could be president, is absolutely ridiculous. Speaking on TV multiple times a year to the American people. But I have to say, I want to dispel this right now. There is no Kennedy curse. If there's one curse to the Kennedys, it's Irish whiskey.
Oh.
You cannot give a bunch of career alcoholics access to airplanes, skis, and a lot of idle rich time. This is a law of averages we're talking about. Automobiles, forget about it. They shouldn't allow us to operate any sort of moving vehicle.
Did your nephew sound like that as a child? Like, what did he sound like?
Yeah, what happened to Robert's voice? Did he have like some sort of traumatic experience to his throat or something?
If I'm not mistaken, he ate some sort of possum meat that he found by the side of the road. He is a third carrion bird on his mother's side, so he likes to pick up various carcasses from the side of the road, like any normal American out there foraging, pulling themselves up by their bootstraps, maybe eating those bootstraps in the harshest of winters.
Oh, yeah.
So I believe he ate some sort of possum meat, and it was not fully cooked, and it damaged his vocal cords.
Tragic.
It's a real tragedy that he will be a high-ranking official in our government for the next 4 years.
No, I'm sure this 4 years is going to go by real quick without all the vaccines. Should be a fun time. Should be great.
I just read that bird flu is spreading through milk now, so this raw milk craze might solve itself.
Oh.
We might be having a lot more guests on the show.
Your wife, Jackie Oat, was she aware of some of your sins?
I mean, the woman had eyes and also a nose to smell sheets. I believe she was well aware. One thing you have to understand is that being the president of the United States is mostly committing crimes.
Oh.
It's mostly doing crimes most of the time. And to avail ourselves of the stress of that, we seek the comfort, the carnal pleasures, and I was not immune to the siren song of, say, a redhead or a brunette or maybe even a blonde. I was very, very interested in those outlets, and I think Jackie was well aware. God rest her soul.
Yeah.
I am sending her a free copy of the book, though.
Oh, that's great.
That's good. Good for you. Yeah.
It is the least I could do for all my, shall we say, indiscretions.
And so when you came to the afterlife after you got boom headshotted, 360 no scope, I believe. I've heard that Lee Harvey Oswald did in fact invent that. Is that true?
That is very true. He did.
Wow, that's incredible. You know, after you had passed away, what was your reaction to seeing your blood and guts splattered on Jackie's outfit and that she continued to wear that for the rest of the day? How did you feel about that?
I thought that was incredibly noble, incredibly brave. Also, that was a very expensive outfit, and now even more valuable with a president's gray matter, one of the rarest presidential seals one can bestow,
Really just had to bite the bullet on that one.
Oh,
so to speak.
Bazinga. All right.
John, how do you feel about being such a famous airport?
Along with the book that the president gets to write after their term in office, one of the second highest honors is getting an airport named after you. It is one of the finest things a president can be known for, especially from a family of people who have died in so many plane crashes. It is nice to have an airport named after you. That is not in any way tempting fate.
I mean, I know that they have the President George Bush Turnpike up in Dallas, but yeah, that is interesting. That's cool. Would there be anything else that you would want to bear your name? Some official building or place that you would want John F. Kennedy scrawled in front of?
Something I propose in my book toward the end is I think we need a new Mount Rushmore of presidents that have done great things outside of our forefathers, which I'm proposing a new monument called Mount Crushmore, and it is of presidents who absolutely slayed trim coast to coast, and I would of course like to be front and center on Mount Crushmore.
Now, would it be just you guys' like heads, or would it be more detailed?
And which head?
Yeah.
Of course, these would be full body, head to toe. You'd get the entire thing, the whole Megillah.
Yeah.
Who else would join you on Mount Crushmore, was it?
Yes, Mount Crushmore for presidents who get down. As loath as I am to say, of course, LBJ's got to be on there.
Hanging dick, for sure.
Of course, yes. It's going to take the sculptor quite a bit. He's got to let the trousers out.
Might have to fly in some new mountain.
That is correct. Taft, of course. Gotta have to put Taft on there.
Yeah.
You know, what the heck? We'll throw Nixon on there.
Oh.
Okay, wow.
I didn't know he was...
I'm extending an olive branch.
It's very big of you. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, he will be, of course, be seated beneath us, and we will have a tasteful waterfall falling off of our genitalia onto his head.
Wow.
I imagine Clinton's got to be involved in this as well, right? He's going to be up there.
Oh my God, of course. Yes, no, Clinton, absolutely. He's right next to me. The sculpture will have my arm around his shoulders as we wolf whistle and go auga from sea to shining sea.
Wow.
Very cool, very cool.
Oh, man, that is such a beautiful monument. I just can't wait to read about it in your book.
I have detailed blueprints, plans, everything is included in the book, so be sure to pick it up. It should be out this summer.
And last question. Do you know why you're in hell?
I kind of think of everything we've talked about today as probably a good indication of why I'm here in hell. And of course, as I said, being president is mostly committing crimes. You are overseeing the pain and suffering of an entire nation of people. Sort of earns you the fast pass to hell.
Well, thank you for your honesty. Thank you for your candor.
Of course.
Appreciate you coming by.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The only president that's in heaven is Jimmy Carter.
Oh, of course. Yeah, no.
He just got there not too long ago. But of course, we'll see him at the reunion.
Can't wait to read your book, and thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you very much, Clayton. Thank you, Chris. It was an honor to be here. Remember, stay tuned. Next summer, The Great Legs.
Coming to bodies of water near you, I guess.
Thank you, gentlemen. Goodbye.
Oh, he just floated away. I didn't know he had that ability. That was incredible.
Wow. Maybe that's one of those presidential things that give you.
Yeah. Well, anyways, thank you guys for listening to another episode of Good Morning from Hell. That was a good one, Chris.
Yeah.
That was good. And now we know, my secret mission, whether or not JFK should be down here, is he, in fact, belongs squarely here in hell.
Yeah.
That's great.
And if you want to get roasted on the show, be sure to go to goodmorningfromhell.com and sign up. And thank you to everyone who supports us.
Even if you're there and you're like, I don't want to spend $6.66 right now, sign up for a free membership. It still helps the show out in a huge way, and you'll get a lot of updates because that's where we post all of our good stuff, is there on the Patreon.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Hail Clayton.
Hello, Andrew Rosas. Thank you for coming onto the show again.
Yeah.
Thank you. Of course, anytime. This is a blast. I'm glad it's back. I'm glad I get to be a guest on the show. It's always so much fun.
Well, not only are you a guest on the new run of shows, which, you were probably our most visited guest on the original run.
You were on the show probably more than anyone. I mean, definitely. I would just say definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But the music that you hear for our theme song now, that was by you, wasn't it not?
That's true. That's right. I forget. Yeah, absolutely. The new theme song is by yours truly. Yeah.
That's right.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
A slinky hard rock tune. That was cool.
Yeah, when we were doing the reboot, we needed new music, and Andrew is talented in many ways, both in comedy, art, music.
Martial arts.
Yes.
The bed.
Deadly in 7 different forms of combat. Yeah.
But yeah, and you helped us out with that.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was honored to do it because, this is a great show.
Andrew, where can the people find you? Because you also have a podcast of your own.
Absolutely, yeah. So former Rooster Teeth baddies, myself, Armando Torres, and Kayla Milton have a show called Boyfriend Material, a relationship advice show guaranteed to ruin your relationship. People write in questions about problems they're having in their relationship or questions that they have or, just stuff related to romance or love or relationships. And we then take those questions, don't answer them, and riff for 30 minutes a question just about whatever. And then sometimes we give good advice. I think actually a couple of times we've actually given some good advice. But I mean, it's just a comedy show. It's just a lot of fun. I love Armando and Griff so much. When we had the tenure at RTP, we just wanted to keep the train rolling because it was so much fun. So Boyfriend Material, wherever you get your podcasts.
Yeah.
You guys bring such a weird, chaotic energy. I remember even there towards the end when we were shutting down and everyone was kind of loosening up a little bit. You guys were saying stuff where I was constantly holding my head in my hands. What are they going to reveal? What are they going to say? You guys have very funny, candid takes, and it is a fun listen. Also, Griff pitched the concept of boyfriend material to me, and it was something along the lines of we have a person who's polyamorous. There was all these things that made your podcast the most unique
perspective,
cover all bases relationship podcast.
I think so. We kind of cover the gamut in terms of types of relationship. Also, I think I'm a little bit older than Griffin and Armando too. So I think we also represent different perspectives demographically too. So yeah, I think we offer some weird, if not helpful, insight into our listeners' questions. So
it's a great show, great cast.
Everyone go subscribe right now to your show,
Boyfriend Material.
And then we're also going to go talk about our sins on why we're going to hell. So you can catch that next week.
Woo!
Let's go.
Bye.